When Stray released in 2022, it got people excited to play as a regular, everyday cat in a cyberpunk world full of robots and squishy things, while also having moments where you can scratch up rugs or walk across a keyboard. Now, this is hardly the first time cats have been playable characters, although they are usually in one of two camps: cartoons or anthropomorphic cats.
Oh my stars.
Or, the occasional cat girl like this one in Muramasa. Gaming as a normal cat is something of a more recent phenomenon. Cat Lateral Damage, that released in 2015 and remastered in 2021, is not much more than laying waste to household items as a cat in first-person perspective. The Super Cat series of platforming games originated and still lives on mobile devices to this day. And these are just a couple that came to me off the top of my head. Today I would like to highlight two specific games that released within days of each other, but could not be more different in terms of both mechanics and theming. Little Kitty Big City from Double Dagger Studio, and Umbraclaw from Inti Creates. Where Little Kitty is more about exploring unfamiliar territory and meeting those who live there, Umbraclaw is a brutal platformer that requires careful attention and pattern recognition skills to do well. Each of them caters to completely different audiences, and yet they both offer something new to cat-based gaming. First, let's take a look at an example of how not to be a responsible pet owner. Ah, yes. There's nothing quite like a mid-afternoon nap in your favorite spot. An open window on the 5th story of an apartment building. When suddenly, whoops! Now, unlike Stray, where watching a cat fall down a great big hole was moderately traumatizing, this is not that kind of game. Our feline companion with the irresponsible owner is completely unharmed. After a short stroll through the neighborhood and controls tutorial, we formally meet the crow we bumped into on the way down. A lengthy conversation about how cats should fly later, we learn about the game's objective. We need to find and eat a number of fish to get enough energy to climb back up to our home in the apartment. That's it. Find fish, climb building. Somehow. The crow is willing to help us out by exchanging a fish for 25 shiny things. He's only got the one fish, but it's a start. Shinies can be found laying on the ground, in trash cans, or even from recycling. That's a good kitty. Along the way, there's a gacha capsule laying on the ground. Gacha capsules contain hats, of which there are many. In order to find more of them, you'll have to look high and low if you want to find them all. Something I noticed Double Dagger does a great job of is getting you started on a task that you will continue doing instinctively. The quest for shinies isn't just a collectathon. It shows you that exploring the world is worth it. They give you another carrot on a stick by showing you these adorable accessories, and they are right to do so. This is one of those it's the journey and not the destination games. Especially if you already know where everything is and how to get around the map, Little Kitty Big City only takes a couple of hours to finish. Maybe a little longer if you want to find every single collectible. I would encourage you not to be laser focused on getting things done. You are meant to take your time and linger. Why are you in such a rush? Your owner doesn't even know that you're gone. You may as well enjoy yourself out here, making friends, finding weird things, and just having fun doing whatever. So let's do that. It's not long before we find someone else in need of help. The mayor, as they call themselves, wants us to knock over jars of jam around this corner market. I mean, I was going to do that anyway. While I'm here in the store, I run into a glitch where I get stuck inside this counter. So that was fun. Anywho, not much further away is perhaps the most important animal we will meet on our journey. Our furry friend here informs us that they are not a raccoon, but a tanuki. Tanuki? Tanuki?
Tanuki.
If you didn't catch the lettering on the signs, or above the corner market earlier, this might be your first big red flag that we aren't in Kansas. Or near Kansas. It's possible the people here don't even know what Kansas is. The Tanuki would like us to help them with their newest invention by finding 3 feathers. For science, obviously. Just about the time when I'm wondering where I'm going to get them, another helpful cat tells us how to sneak up on the local birds. Or if we prefer, distract the birds with any bread we can find. I don't need no bread. I am nature's perfect hunter. I am stealth itself. I am a large, obvious cat scaring away all the birds. How catching birds actually works is you need to get into position to land on their tails. And for that matter, we are only concerned with their feathers. Catch and release, as they say. Feathers in hand, I was on the way back when I find a charming chameleon in a top hat. We have a talk about eyeball anatomy before they challenge us to find them again, somewhere else in the city. Alright, cool. I'm up for it. But first I should probably turn in a few quests. Alright, I think I'm done with all of my distractions, and it's time to catch up with the Tanuki. Thanks to the feathers we gathered, the Tanuki has effectively invented fast travel. The first one is a one-way trip to some territory that was previously inaccessible. Every other fast travel point from here on will require 1 feather each to unlock. Oh, there you are. Well, here on the construction site, I find a beetle who apparently is the social media manager for an internet cat. They dropped their smartphone in the wet concrete here and would like us to find another. Hey, I know where I saw one of those. I grab a phone and also drop it in the concrete. So I go get a second smartphone, and this one is not going to be part of whatever building this is. Probably. I never actually turned in my Shinies quest from earlier, so I guess I should go and do that. Finally, I understand what getting fish does for us. Your first fish allows you to climb ivy-covered walls, and eating more fish gives you additional stamina. You're going to need a fair bit of it to get back home. And oh look, here's some ivy right here. Meanwhile, another cat is having a very different kind of day.
One life has come to an end. Life is a fragile thing. It can be snuffed out in an instant through any number of means. This life belonged to a simple cat that lived with her owner. Her owner may have been devastated. They may have given her a formal burial. They may have scattered her ashes. Or perhaps they were not even aware of her death, just disappearing one day, never to come back. The cat in question, Kuan, has ended up in the Soul Plane following her death. Within the Soul Plane is the boundary, which allows those who cross it to return to the real world. Left with no choice, Kuan proceeds towards it.
The game hasn't even started yet, and it sounds like the narrator has already checked out. Yeah, cat's dead. Doesn't matter why or how, but it's here now. And where here is, exactly, is not totally clear. We are told that we are in the Soul Plane and need keystones to open the boundary which leads back to the, quote, real world. So if the opening to this story sounds confusing already, I'm sorry to say it doesn't get any better. The game throws a ton of information at you right off the bat. About the world, about the mechanics, but here's how it boils down. It helps to think of Umbraclaw like a Mega Man game, except you are not the blue bomber, but a cat. Just a cat. Even more specifically, this game is closer to the legally distinct version of Mega Man, Mighty Number 9, which makes a lot of sense considering Inti Creates developed for both games. When defeating a boss, you are encouraged to absorb energy by dashing through instead of destroying the bosses. The biggest difference here is instead of gaining powers from bosses, you gain powers from taking a death. Everything kills you in one hit, and you only have 9 lives to work with. You start out with precious few abilities. You can wall slide, wall jump, and use an invincible dash to avoid damage. As you take damage, abilities are given to you at random, ranging from mobility, attack, and defense. The game makes it clear on multiple occasions that the general idea is to avoid this scenario, and the best endings in the game require you to take as few deaths as you can manage. Boss encounters are also like Mighty Number 9, in the sense that using your dash to defeat them would be equivalent to a Buster-only run, but you can end the fight differently by using certain abilities if you have them. During my run, I chose to be as minimalistic as possible, primarily relying on the dash to get through the game. Okay, I suppose it's finally time to pick a heading, and I start off to the right for no particular reason. Recapping, this is the Soul Plane. It's a hub world connected by portals, and through those portals are where we will find the keystones held by bosses. just getting to the first portal, I take 3 separate deaths. Fortunately, I get a better dash, a melee attack, and an automatic dodge for my troubles. After taking that portal, I arrive somewhere that makes me very nervous. And that's kind of the thing with this game. Everything is unsettling to look at, especially from the perspective of a teensy little feline. The ground here is always moving, and I must jump from tree to tree while dodging various monstrosities. Before too long, we find the boss, a shark who seems to have mutated into a hungrier, deadlier version of itself.
You look like you'd be pretty tasty too. Not much meat on you, I guess, but it'll do. Mind letting me have a little bite? Don't blame me if I gobble you right up, though.
Now that we're here, I should elaborate a little on how to defend yourself without abilities. Dashing through the boss's attacks builds power. When that power gauge is full, you can then attack the boss. This process can be long and tedious, but it is doable. Defeating Sharknado here is mostly just dashing through the whirlpool and any projectiles he drops. Then it's only a matter of using the Fatal Skill button and end the fight. After completing a stage, you have the option to release all the souls you've gathered, and thus regain all of your lives in exchange for all of your hope points. Oh, I guess I haven't explained hope yet. The game talks about hope in a lot of vague terms, but hope is a currency in Umbraclaw. Hope can be gained by brushing up against these crystals, and by defeating enemies if you have an attack power. Larger crystals reveal a memory from your life with a little girl. These memories vary from mostly sweet and innocent.
Come on, Kuan, say meow for me. Meow. 1, 2, 3. Meow. Meow.
Up to, I'm not sure this girl knows how cats work.
Cat launcher, blast off! Whoosh! Cruising through the atmosphere now. Whoosh! Sorry. No need to get that mad. I thought it'd be some harmless fun.
Along with these color gems found in the world, you primarily use Hope to get upgrades to your powers. Hope has a second use we will get to in a moment. Back on the Soul Plane, I go after my next keystones in the other portals. This next environment, an icy mountain, is filled with both hot and cold geysers, and it's giving me a lot of trouble. It's here that I discovered the other use for hope points. If you wish to remain as you are, as a small cat, it costs hope points to stay that way. When you can no longer afford it, you become something else.
The soul, or perhaps the sin, of a human has pushed Kuon to a new stage. She can no longer be seen nor treated as a regular cat.
In this form, the way the game plays changes entirely. Instead of dodging and weaving past monsters, you have no other choice but to go on the offensive. The small gaps in platforms that were once available to you are no longer usable. Any souls you have gathered are stronger, faster, and more deadly. You also get actual health. There still isn't a means to recover that health, but at least you can take more than one hit at a time. While in this form, the bosses also react to you very differently.
No way! Not another monster! Oh, I hate this place so much! There's monsters out to get me wherever I run! Why do you have to chase me all the way here?
Despite that, I choose not to engage. It didn't look like they wanted to fight anyway. And in this case, that's entirely an option.
Why aren't you attacking me? I told you to kill me, didn't I? You're not gonna do it? I've lost sight of myself. I don't even have the strength to survive here, let alone try to make it back to the real world. Yet, you still want me to live.
And another keystone is mine. To the west, we will find the Craggy Plains. It's full of these spiky plants and wormy things that sort of remind me of the nipper plants in World 7 of Super Mario Bros. 3. About halfway through, we are greeted by someone else. This is Locke.
Hey there! You must be a cat by the looks of it. I'm Locke. Pleased to meet you. Oh, let me guess. You're trying to get back to the real world, right? Same here. Talk about coincidence.
Locke is also looking for a way out of the Soul Plane, but he clearly chose another path instead of remaining as a dog. This fight against Locke is a bit more difficult than your average mid-boss, since he can punish you for using one of your soul powers. And thanks to the battle with Locke, I arrive at this stage's boss with a few more bruises than I would have preferred. This is Alice, a bunny who is, shall we say, a little unhinged.
I must return home. Return home to them. Will they recognize me, though? I've changed quite a bit since then. They're waiting for me back home. I'm sure of it. This has to be a test. A way to prove the love shared between us. Why are you staring at me like that? Is there something you'd like to say? Are you trying to imply that their love for me is warped? That my love for them is wrong?
Honestly, this fight isn't all that bad, but after one little slip, I am forced to transform. Now that I have to attack her, there's a little bit more chasing involved. One thing I keep forgetting is that Dash is no longer invincible, but the Mayfly's power has me covered. Then I just have to wail on her until she goes down. The final keystone is inside a dense forest. This forest is full of terrible, terrible things. Like, I don't know, giant chainsaws and laser beams? All of my sphincters tighten up, just trying to make it through this place alive. Just go. Just go. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to be here. Just let me out. The boss is a lyre bird, and suddenly it all makes sense.
My imitations are spot on, right? But that ain't the only amazing thing about me.
The sounds of foresters and their chainsaws working nearby.
This boss can make those same sounds into tangible threats, attacking with saws and those laser beams. Luckily, you are given plenty of time to react to either one. Four keystones in hand, it's time to unlock the boundary and go home.
Huon has successfully obtained all 4 keystones and undone the first seal on the boundary. Her journey is far from over, however. She must now venture into the forbidden depths of the Soul Plane, where the Quaternary reside. The Imperial souls of these 4 powerful rulers are the key to breaking the final seal.
Wait, hold on. That was just the first part? Oh, balls.